M0FXB, welcome back to my dog walks. Mazzy's really impatient to get to that field today. She's barking non-stop, but hopefully she'll be quiet for the few minutes of this video. Look at that house. How cool that is in the UK, southwest UK. Mazzy, stop it. Anyway, let's talk about 2 meters. So when I first got myself a VHF UHF radio, so we're talking VHF, okay, I pretty much only went on 2 meters. I didn't use 70 centimeters. Really, that became a lot more useful to me when I got a hotspot, and most hotspots use 70 cems, although they do work on VHF. So I would just turn on my radio, go to about 145,000 and just tune through, and sometimes I'd have the spacing 5 kilohertz apart, 10 kilohertz apart, and also 6.25, and just tune through, and you can scan up and down, and you can create some memory channels, and you're going to hit a local repeater. Now, did you know that these channels actually have numbers? For example, 145,500, the calling channel, is actually called S20. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. This is what we call it in Weston-super-Mare, where I live. So that would mean that 525 is S21, and 550 is S22, and 575 is S23. So what we would do is we'd say to our ham friends, let's meet you on S22. So he, instead of having to say 145, 550, he'd know. So there's a little tip for you. The other tip is this: lower that squelch, because what you'll find is there'll be stations there, but you're missing them all because your squelch is too high. Get your squelch as low as possible. If you're getting a lot of interference, say you're getting 4 or 5 pounds of interference, then you've got your antenna too near. Come on, Maz. You've got your antenna too near something that's radiating a bad signal. Get it up higher, 6 foot higher. Make sure your coax, don't buy the cheap, thin stuff. Just get a good quality coax. It doesn't have to be, like expensive. Just don't buy the rubbish that you can buy, yeah? With really, if you think about coax, the center core is the gold bit. That's your center core, and that's covered in plastic, okay? To separate it from the outer core. Now the outer core has braid, and that braid is going to really help keep out some of these bad signals that we don't want interfering with our ham radio signals. So if you've got really thin braid, and I don't feel like the plastic covering would make a big difference. Maybe, I suppose, if it's thick. It's a funny one. Yes, maybe yes, maybe not. Yeah, probably. So sort your coax out. Sometimes it's easier, instead of buying coax and then 2 PL259s and soldering them on, you can actually buy pre-made patch leads, but get a long one, get a 20 meter one or a 10 meter one, all pre-made, perfectly sealed, everything perfect for you, and the seller will even leave one end off, if you need that for poking it through a hole or something. And then if you ask him to prepare it for you, then just a quick solder, you should be fine. So think about that, and then get scanning, because people say the band's dead, but I'll tell you now, 2 meters is not dead. It's definitely not dead, and the signal travels well on 2 meters. 70 centimeters works well around buildings and in town centres, and that's why people use it. It's a tiny little wave. Imagine 70 centimeters, how big that is. It's like the size of your thumb, yeah, where 2 meters is the size of you. And so, just think about that radio wave. So Mazzy is happy now, finally here at the field. As we enter the field, it's like so, a few houses here, woods up there. There's a tiny little entrance here for this massive, massive field. So, this video is about 2 meters. There is a buzz to what we call real radio. And I don't mean that in an insulting way, because I love using apps, internet, hotspots, digital. But there is a buzz to just receiving a radio signal from another person who might be 5 miles away on, say, S20, let's call it. You're chatting away and the signal's fluttering a bit because it's not 9+30 like you would get on a all-star node or a hotspot. And you're chatting away, and if he's in a car, if one of you's mobile, the signal gets stronger and weaker. There's a real buzz to that. That's part of the hobby. That's the good bit. That's the upside to HF, is you never know how it's going to go, and the propagation, let's call it. And you would have heard of tropospheric ducting. So sometimes when the clouds and the conditions are in a certain way, and the temperature and the moisture in the air and all the other things, I mean, Google it, yeah? Signals will be piped through. So I'm here, southwest UK. I'll get signals from France and from Scotland, and further actually from Europe. So, dig out that 2 meter radar. We call it 2 meters. 145 megs, even if it's, whichever, even if it's a handheld, you can put an external antenna on it, dig it out, tune through, search up and down, I'll tell you now, and call out on 145 500, call out, 3 or 4 times, be patient, call out, get your power high if you want, call out, and you'd be surprised. You watch how someone comes back and you'll have a contact you would never have had if you never watched this video. Thanks for watching my channel, 7-3.